What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dripp Strick College Football Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jacob. I'm with my other co-host, Austin. Austin, how you doing,
I'm
buddy?
doing good, man. How about you, bro?
I'm doing fantastic after this fantastic week of college football
Yes.
that we had. And let me tell you, there were multiple upsets, multiple really close, really good games, and a bunch of teams that surprised a lot of people. So we're just going to hop right into it, starting off with a banker. Number one, Tennessee, and number three, Georgia. This is a game that shocked a lot of people. A lot of people thought that this game was going to be super close, and Georgia just dominated the whole time. They didn't give Tennessee any life the entire game. Hendon Hooker did not have a good game. Only 195 passing yards, no touchdown passes, and an interception. Stetson Bennett had a great game. Stetson Bennett he really amped it up for this game. 2 touchdown passes, 257 passing yards, and the Georgia defense is I would give the MVP of this game to the Georgia defense. They showed out. They played like a true Georgia defense, and they demolished the Tennessee Volunteers. I'd say Georgia is now definitely the number one team in the country,
Yeah.
hands down.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, dude. I feel like the score really doesn't do this game justice at all. I mean, Florida and Georgia really just took over this game from like halfway through the first into the whole game, and they dominated pretty much the whole game. I mean, it was absolute domination, and they only won by I think 14. I mean, that's not a whole lot at all, but I mean, it was
Yeah.
one-sided pretty much mostly all game. And dude, Georgia's defense, they came to play. Kirby Smart had his boys ready to play, and man, what a game! I mean, that was so exciting. I was so excited for that game. I was locked in, like pretty much one of the biggest games of the year, if not the biggest game of the year. And dude, Georgia came to play, and they shut up that they weren't legit this year. I mean, their defense looked very good, even though they lost all those players to the NFL. They still reloaded. It's so impressive. And Tennessee, I don't know. Hendon Hooker wasn't looking too good. I don't know. So that's definitely
They had a
gonna make their
little slump.
playoff playoff projections a little bit different. They might not make the playoff now, but I don't know. That was a great game. I loved watching that game, and dude, Georgia dominated. That was a fantastic game to watch.
Yeah, it was a really fun game to watch. Tennessee, their playoff hopes are still alive. Their SEC hopes, though, basically
Yeah.
gone. But they still have a chance at the playoff. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. Next up, we're going to a game. I predicted this game. Everyone was like, Jacob, why did you predict this? Why did you pick Notre Dame to beat Clemson? I don't know. Had a gut feeling. It paid off. Notre Dame hosted Clemson. Number 4 Clemson. The number 4, I'm doing air quotes right now. Number 4 team in the country. I never thought they were the number 4 team in the country. They got demolished 35-14. Horrible. Just a horrible game by Clemson. DJ had a DJ Uyunglele game. He didn't have a horrible game, but his QBR was
Jeez.
33.9. That's pretty bad. Cade Klubnik came into the game. His only pass attempt was an
Mm.
interception. It's really sad, but the 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 MVP of this game definitely Notre Dame. Notre Dame's ground attack. They had 263 rushing yards in total, and that really helped carry them to help destroy this number 4, air quotes, number 4 Clemson Tigers team. Um, I do not want to see. I swear, if they somehow put Clemson in the playoffs after this, I'm gonna lose my mind. If they're even in the top 10, honestly, if they're even in the top 10, I'm gonna lose my
Yeah.
mind. They're not a good team. Definitely overrated.
Yeah, man, that was rough, man. This Notre Dame team looked very good on Saturday. I was dead wrong about this pick. I've been known for defending Clemson really all year because what I always say, Clemson and the college football is better when the Clemson Tigers are good. College football is just way better, and they did not look good. DJ, man, he was still struggling. I know Dabo was trying to take up for him, but DJ is still struggling bad, and I did not see this loss coming at all. Clemson got beat bad. It wasn't even a close game. At Notre Dame, man, I just didn't see this coming at all. I did not see this coming at all. This came straight from left field, but shout out to Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman. And yeah, that running game, Clemson could not stop that running game, and they could not score to match up with it. So yeah, Clemson looked rough, and they are definitely not going to the playoff now. Like definitely. And shout out Notre Dame.
Yeah. If they get put in the playoff,
Yes,
we riot.
that's crazy.
By the way, Clemson did not score until the fourth quarter, so they scored garbage time points basically. But next up, we're going to another game. I made like a bunch of hot takes on a predictions episode last week, and I actually some of them paid off. Like this one, number 6 Alabama at number 10 LSU. I said Alabama was going to get shocked by LSU. It was at night at Death Valley, and I was right. Jaden Daniels had an incredible game. This was just a really good football game. Like, it really was. It was a really good game. And LSU won this game in overtime. Jaden Daniels had a great game, 182 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 95 rushing yards. And this game, I feel like me personally, if I was in charge of like the Heisman race or whatever, I would put him up there. Start moving him up in the Heisman race. But this was a very good performance by Jaden Daniels and the LSU Tigers. Alabama, they got a bunch of leaks everywhere, a bunch of problems. They got to figure it out on defense. First thing they got to do, either as soon as possible or after the season, first thing they got to do to take care of this, fire Bill O'Brien and Pete Golding. They're absolutely horrible coordinators, and even the fans say that. So this LSU team is a really good 7-2 team, and I'm really excited to see what they can do the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Alabama, honestly, I think they might lose next week at Ole Miss too. I would keep an eye on that game.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, Ole Miss has a week to prepare. They were off on Saturday, so they got 2 weeks to prepare. But yeah, this game caught me from left field. I've been saying for 2 weeks straight that I was not buying Clemson and LSU even getting close to Bama this game, and I was dead wrong. I mean, I think in 365 days, Pete Golding will not be the defensive coordinator. Bill O'Brien will not be the offensive coordinator. Both coordinators will be gone. And man, they're gonna have to go through. They're gonna have to get somebody in wide receiver, if it's through the portal or somebody's got to step up, because they don't look good. I mean, it's just a one-man show. Bryce Young. I mean, their defense made Jaden Daniels have a great game, and dude, Alabama just really struggled. But I mean, I don't want to hear that Alabama's, their dynasty's beginning to come to an end. I don't want to hear any of that from anybody. They were literally one play away. If they wouldn't have got their 2-point conversion, nobody would be overreacting. But LSU got it.
That was a very
dude.
ballsy
Brian
move,
Kelly,
by the way.
what a
Very
call in
ballsy
his
move.
first year beats Alabama. What a that's crazy.
I thought he was so dumb when they lined up for that, and I was like, they're so dumb. They're gonna lose now because of this, and
Great
they actually
call.
got it. And I was very ballsy call by Brian Kelly, but that's what you got to do to win in the SEC.
Great call. I mean, dude, Brian Kelly, man, he really shut up a lot of people. He was a laughing stock week 1, week 2. He was a total laughing stock.
Oh,
now
yeah, he was.
he just beat Alabama. I mean, that's crazy. In his first year, shout out to Brian Kelly. He looks like a great hire so far. And Jaden Daniels had a great game. And Alabama, I'm not sold on them too much this year. They're way too reliant on Bryce Young, and they do not have a wide receiver that will step up, because they have the talent. They just don't have anybody that will step up, and I really don't understand it from Alabama. But what a game by LSU.
Yeah.
All props to LSU. I said after week 3 that this LSU team was very underrated. And man, they proved me right there. But I mean, what a game. I really didn't see this coming. Shout out to Brian Kelly for his first game against Alabama as the LSU Tiger. And he won it. He won it in overtime. That's man, that's crazy. Great game. Fantastic game.
Yeah, fantastic game indeed. We're going to number 24 Texas at number 13 Kansas. Another upset. The final score was 34-27. Texas won this game. Adrian Martinez, this is his game. He came back for this game from his injury. Had a pretty mediocre game. 2 passing touchdowns. Actually, no, he had a pretty good game, actually. 329 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns and 1 interception. Had a good ground game, too. But what really helped this Texas Longhorns offense was Bijan Robinson. They really, really relied on him to help carry them. He had 30 carries for
Mm.
209 yards and 1 touchdown. Um, and a lot of people were surprised by this Kansas team. They had a couple good wins. They had a win over Oklahoma a couple weeks ago, and people were starting to think they were legit. But this Texas team was just better, and they just played better. I think next year, Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns are actually going to have a pretty good year if Quinn Ewers can stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm buying that. I'm buying that. Um, yeah, this was a great game. I didn't really see this coming too, because Kansas State they were super hot, like stupid hot. And Adrian Martinez coming back, he had 3 touchdowns, one on the ground, 2 in the air. Yeah, I really did not see this game coming at all from Texas. But shout out to Texas. Yeah, Bijan Robinson, one of the best running backs in the league, no doubt. And yeah, they really just played through him. Quinn didn't have a bad game though. He had 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. So if they can stay consistent like that, they can win a lot of big games. And this was a big win for them, 100%. They looked great in it, and they could have very easily lost to this Kansas State team. So great win for Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah. So next we're going to number 18 Oklahoma State at Kansas. Kansas, the first team to recover from the
Oh
Dripp
yeah,
Strick podcast curse. They demolished Oklahoma State. This is Oklahoma State's third loss in a row, and it was another blowout. I think it was their third blowout in a row where they got blowout. They got blown out by Kansas State last week, 48-0. And they're just lost. Oklahoma State is just lost. They don't know what they're doing. Jason Bean, he stepped in against TCU a couple weeks ago. The Kansas starting quarterback got hurt. He's out for the rest of the year. He stepped in, and he's been playing some really good football. 203 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, pretty good QBR of 99.2. And Devin Neal, Kansas running back, 32 carries, 224 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Kansas, they're bouncing back. They're starting to have themselves a nice little season. Oklahoma State, they're in trouble, dude. Like they just gotta fix their defense. Their defense is horrible, and they gotta figure out what the heck's going on offense. I mean, their quarterback, Spencer Sanders did not play in this game, but their quarterback threw 3 interceptions this week, 47.5
Ugh.
QBR. I mean, they got to do some soul
yeah,
searching. That's what they got to
100%.
do.
Was it Gunter Gundy?
No, it's Garrett
Okay.
Rangel. Like I don't know what happened to
Yeah.
Gundy,
Okay,
but
that's crazy. Yeah, dude, I wasn't expecting this. Well, I expected Kansas to win, but just not in this fashion, because I said I wasn't going to pick Oklahoma State because they let me down with the Kansas State pick. So I expected Kansas to win. Kansas, I think they lost 3 straight, and then obviously they win in good fashion on Saturday. Man, Adrian Martinez not Adrian Martinez. What am I saying? Jaden Daniels, when he can come back, that's going to be big. That's going to be big for Kansas. They're going to be even better. You know, Mr. Bean's holding it
yeah,
down right now, but when they get their starting quarterback coming in, they're gonna be very good. And I'm really excited for Kansas football. I like them a lot, and they've been so bad for the past probably 7-8 years that I'm so glad they actually have a
yeah,
good season. And they're gonna go bowling, which they probably haven't done in a while. So that's
yeah. It's been a while
yeah. So
since
good for
that.
them. And Oklahoma State, I really don't know what to do. And nothing's clicking for them. Nothing the past 2 or 3 weeks, really. Nothing has been clicking. Yeah, because they lost to Texas. So, yeah, they've lost 3 straight, but that's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing for Oklahoma State because
Yeah,
they started the
it's
year so hot. Spencer Sanders was doing so well. But Oklahoma State, man, I don't know. I'd hit that panic button.
yeah. They're definitely in trouble. Next we're going to another victim of the Drip Strick
Hmm.
podcast curse. Number 20
Yep.
Syracuse at Pittsburgh. Syracuse without Garrett Schrader. I believe he's
Yeah.
hurt. Um, Carlos Del Rio Wilson is their starting quarterback. He went 8 for 23, 120
Ugh.
passing yards. It's not good. Sean Tucker, typically the star of their offense, had only 10 carries.
What?
10 carries, 19
That's
yards.
crazy.
Um, and I mean, they didn't. I mean, it looks like Syracuse just did not have the ball a lot. They only had 25 total rushes and 23 pass attempts. total. So that's I can't do math right now, but whatever that number is, that's how many plays they had. Keaton Slovis been pretty mediocre, just how he was at USC. Pretty much this whole year, other than the West
Yeah.
Virginia game, when everyone thought he was going to be super good. Him and JT Daniels were going to be super good, and then they
Yep.
fell off. But Pittsburgh pretty much just dominated this whole game. And Syracuse, they just kind of just spiraled out of control. They had a good game against Clemson. They lost that game, but they had a
Yeah.
good game. But I mean, ever since then, they just been
Yeah.
struggling.
They've definitely been on a downward spiral, especially with Garrett Schrader. Not much we can do with Del Rio Wilson over there. He's not playing too well. So and Pitt's not a great team. They're really not good at all this year.
No.
From what they should have been this year. So yeah, bad look for Syracuse, and I feel like we should take some blame for that loss. I really do feel like on this podcast we should take some blame for the loss. But yeah, Pitt dominated, and shout out to Pitt. But I mean, both teams are not very good. But I don't know about Syracuse. They're rough right now.
They
Yes.
disappointed me. I was very high on Syracuse, and they've really
Yes.
disappointed me. We're going to talk about another victim of the Drip Strick podcast curse. Another team, another player, perhaps, that's really disappointed us so far. We're talking about number 21 Wake Forest at
Oh my
number 22
gosh.
NC State. Perhaps the team that really suffered from the Drip Strick podcast curse. Sam Hartman had a horrible. Or he had a weird game. He had 397 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns, which is pretty good, but he had 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, we were talking so good about him. He had a really good first game when he came back from whatever injury he had. He came back from that. He had a really good first game, and then ever since then, he's just been a turnover machine. 3 interceptions. I'm trying to see if they have any fumbles. No, they did not fumble. Nope. Just the 3 interceptions. That'll really hurt you. MJ Morris steps in for injured Devin Leary, or I think his name's Devin.
Yeah.
Devin Leary for NC State through 3 passing touchdowns. NC State's having a pretty good year. A lot of people were thinking that they were going to do a lot better, but they're without their starting quarterback. We'll give them an excuse this time. But I mean, Wake Forest really, really disappointed us
Yeah.
this year. Let's see if hopefully they can turn it around. But I mean they're struggling over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I was dead wrong about this pick. I was pretty concerned that Wake Forest was going to pull this out, but Sam Hartman, man, he's got to lock back in. I don't know what's going on. This was a bad loss because Devin Leary didn't even play, so Wake Forest really didn't have an excuse to not win this game. So yeah, they definitely should have pulled it out, and that was tough. I was wrong, very very wrong about that one.
Next we're talking about Florida at Texas A&M. Florida walked up into, I believe it's Kyle Field,
Yeah,
something like that.
Kyle Field.
College Station, whatever you call it. Walked up in there and destroyed this struggling Texas A&M Aggies team. Final score is 41-24. Anthony Richardson had a really good game. 201 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, which is an achievement in itself for him. He has 7 carries, 78 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns too. So Anthony Richardson was a big reason why Florida won this game. But Texas A&M, they've been struggling pretty much all year. They haven't really been able to get anything going. Really, their only bright spot on offense is Devin
Yeah.
A-Chain, which is a fun name to say. He had 16 carries, 122 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns, and that's about it. That they got going for them on offense, defense, not playing good. And they're really in a tough spot because they can't just buy out Jimbo Fisher and say goodbye. Because it's like, what, $95, $96 million buyout?
So crazy.
Some really crazy number like that. And puts them in a really tough spot because they can't do that. And so they're stuck with him for a couple more years. So hopefully he can figure something out. They can get all these 5-star recruits in, and hopefully they can turn it around next year.
Yeah, it's a shame what happened to him because did you hear about like the flu? like they got a flu outbreak, so
Oh
they
yeah,
they were
yeah, I
missing
saw
most of
that.
their starters, including Connor Wigman. So it really sucks for them, and they had to play the whole game with a bunch of like straight starters coming out. So they had to play a lot of their young guys, and Florida took advantage of that, and Florida looked good. AR-15 looked good, and hopefully Florida can turn it around because they've had a kind of a lackluster year, but obviously it is only year one for Billy Napier. But Florida's 5-4 right now, and AR-15 had a good game. He had 4 touchdowns, two on the air, two on the ground. So yeah, shout out to Florida for this win. But I mean, Texas A&M, they kind of were stuck on this win.
Next we're talking about my Auburn Tigers versus Austin's Mississippi
Dripp
State
Strick
Bulldogs.
bowl game,
The Dripp Strick podcast
rivalry
bowl
game.
game. Um, this was actually a lot closer than pretty much everyone thought. I mean, the final score was 33-39 Mississippi State. A very good game. Brian Harsin was fired last Monday. So they made Cadillac Williams, Auburn legend, the interim head coach, and he did nothing but surprise pretty much everyone. The first half of this game was horrible. I mean, it probably couldn't have gone any worse. But in the second half, I mean, this Auburn team just boom, snap, turned it around, and they played some really, really good football. Took this Mississippi State team to overtime, lost in overtime, unfortunately. But I'm very proud of this Auburn Tigers team, and I'm excited to see what we can do the rest of the year. Hopefully, we can get a win over Texas A&M. That's a very winnable game.
Yeah.
And but I think our bowl hopes this year are pretty much out the window.
Yeah, I like that we won, but man, we were up 24-6. I was feeling amazing. I was like, man, I hope it doesn't get out of hand. I really don't. And then Cadillac Williams said at halftime, my brother and I were laughing about it the rest of the game. Cadillac Williams he said one team's gonna quit. And he said somebody's gonna quit, and it ain't gonna be us. And my brother and I were just laughing about that literally the rest of the game, because Mississippi State literally they just quit. They quit. They lost. I mean, literally, our offense was non-existent. We were calling stupid plays that went nowhere. We couldn't run at all. Will Rogers forgot how to play. He had 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and an interception. The interception was literally every turnover was awful. Our defense held their own. We tried to make Robbie Ashford throw, but I mean, Robbie Ashford is so fast. He can run it so well. He'll develop the throw game. He's not there yet, but I mean, he could run. Yeah, he can run like crazy. He's so fast, and we just couldn't keep up with him rushing the ball. So he rushed. They came back and then won it in overtime. So I mean, I'm glad that we didn't give up. We were resilient, as in like we won the game. So that's really what it's all about. But we looked bad. I was about to go over there to the field and fire Mike Leach myself, but that won't be necessary until another week. But I mean, yeah, we looked awful, and I'm not happy about the win at all, because we should have won probably about 20, 30 plus, about 20 plus. And we definitely did not do that. That game should not have been in overtime. And I don't know, just really from how we started out, and we completely dropped the ball, and we forgot how to play football for most of the game until the final. But I mean, that game, I don't think I've ever been more stressed. Like I ended up like I sat on the floor for like just 10, 15 minutes, like in awe of that game. Like after
Dude,
it almost killed me, dude.
Oh,
I was
so
about to freaking die.
that game had me stressing big
Yes,
time,
man.
especially in overtime, bruh.
Yes.
And then we
That game was crazy.
I forgot how it ended,
Alright.
but I just remember me and my dad were like,
Yeah.
oh, we just
And
sank.
Anders Carlson, he missed that field goal, which I thought he was 100% about to make.
Oh, dude, no. So he hurt his, I think he tore his ACL or something last year in the
Mhm.
Iron Bowl. And he just hadn't been the same
Dang,
since.
that's crazy.
It really sucks because he was a really good, consistent kicker, but like this year, he's just been super inconsistent, super unreliable. But yeah, I think that's all I have. Oh wait, I do have one more thing. Liberty beat Arkansas
Yes.
21-19. Arkansas started off hot this year. They started off really good. Everyone thought they were going to be SEC contenders, and they lost to
Yep.
Liberty. So Auburn, when they're looking for head coaches, they got to look at Lane Kiffin. Obviously, that's obvious
Yeah.
number one. Number two, I would honestly put Hugh Freeze
Yeah, he
number
looked he
two,
looked really good on
and
Saturday.
then
His team.
and then number three, Deion Sanders. I feel like as soon as that Florida State job
Mhm.
opens up, he's just gonna go right for that, because that's his dream job. That's what he wants more
Yeah.
than anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which that might open.
Yeah,
soon,
Hugh
by the
Freeze.
way.
I don't know. I mean, they won that game with their third string quarterback in, and after losing
Yeah.
Malik Willis for the draft. So I mean, yeah, but they still beat Arkansas. I mean, and it was at Arkansas too. I mean, come on, that's an awful loss for Arkansas. They definitely should have won that, and they made the SEC look pretty bad in that game. I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know. I did not see that coming, and yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got.
And that's all I got. If you're still listening, shout out to you. We love you. Comment down any suggestions. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, hit us up on Instagram or Twitter, or just comment down below. Either one will be fine. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, tell your friends about the podcast. And that's all I got. You got anything else, Austin?
That's all I got. Thank y'all so much for watching. It means the world to us. Leave a like and make sure to subscribe. Will Levis is overrated.